What's the deal? Devin Johnson. Who we got in here? Who we got in here? Cam Mack, what up? Mike Larry, what up? We love. Alka Sosa 84, what up? Let me see some. Mute this. All right, so what I'm trying to do right now is stream live from Zoom because I have some information I want to share with you guys. All right, it's going to be a free training where I'm giving away as much as I possibly can in 30 minutes. Obviously, I can't teach you all the kung fu of this weight loss thing in 30 minutes, but I can give you some really powerful gems that you'll be able to apply if you're listening for that purpose. If you're listening to apply. So hold on, let me start this screen share. Let me make sure my audio is straight. All right, let's do the screen. All right, so I'm going to share with you guys what I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So today you're going to learn whether or not calories matter, and save your super chats. Like after I run through this information, I'm gonna be, for everyone who does super chat, I'm going to address your super chats afterwards. So thanks in advance for all the super chats. I really, really appreciate the love. All right, so look, like I said, you're gonna learn whether or not calories matter. You're gonna also learn how to lose fat without being hungry, which is, listen, guys, there's nothing more important than figuring that part out, right? A lot of us, we associate, hold on, let me turn this down. We associate weight loss with hunger. You shouldn't have to, listen, you shouldn't be hungry ever while you're trying to lose weight. That's so counterproductive. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to lose weight without ever being hungry. Because once we're hungry, that's when we lost control, right? Most of the times when you're on a weight loss journey and you let that hunger kick in, that's when you end up in the drive-through. So I'm going to teach you how to do that, how to lose weight without ever being hungry. Because like I said, that's the key. I'm going to teach you exactly what types of exercise to do in order to burn body fat, specifically to burn body fat. I'm going to teach you how to train your brain to overcome obstacles. This one is super key. Super duper key. I'm also going to be explaining to you why you fail on diets and what you can do to break that cycle. We have to break that cycle. But first, I want to talk to you about this guy, Fat Bricks, right? If you guys are familiar with my story, you know, or you may or may not have seen this image, but this is the image that I would put as the background on my phone. This is the image that I printed and hung a poster of this image on my wall. The vision that I had for my body, I wanted to look like The Rock. I wanted to look like The Rock. So I painted, so I cropped a photo, right? I took my face and I put it on The Rock's body, and I would obsess about this image. I think I did pretty well. You know, obviously, I'm not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but that was the goal. That was the vision. And that's what I worked towards every single day for 3 years straight until I got the body of my dreams. So you have to form this vision, and you have to feel the emotions that you're going to feel when you achieve this body. You have to believe that it's possible. Listen, I speak to so many people who have these weight loss goals or these fitness goals, but deep down inside, I can tell in their energy when I'm speaking to them that they don't believe that it's possible. And as cliche as it sounds, you have to believe, you have to believe, you have to believe. It doesn't matter how much effort you put or how much you invest in the coaching, or if you don't believe that the body that you want is possible, then it's not going to happen. So I want you to form a clear vision for your body, and I want you to use the power of belief, right? So I want you to know this before we get into the nuts and bolts of things, that the body that you want is owned by a higher version of yourself. I'm going to say that again. The body that you want is owned by a higher version of you, which means you're going to have to evolve. You're going to have to turn into a person with a whole different set of habits, with a different mindset. The way you think has to change, because the body that you have right now is what built the body that you have. I mean, the mindset that you have right now, the person you are right now is who built the body that you currently have. And then in order to get the body that you want, you have to evolve into an entirely different version of yourself. But the good news is it's possible. It's possible. The mind is so dynamic. It's so pliable. You can change you can change the way your mind functions. You are in control of that. It takes work, but it can be done. And the information I'm about to share with you guys comes directly from my Goal Body Blueprint program. This is a program where I work with a group of people and I teach you guys step by step. It's a 12-week process. I teach you guys step by step everything you need to learn in order to change the mindset, which makes changing your body easy. Once you change your mind, everything else falls in place. It falls into place, right? So keep in mind, all this stuff, we're just going to be scratching the surface. But all this stuff, we get deeper into it in the Goal Body Blueprint. So here's the truth about the weight loss formula. Most of us think that it's 80-20, right? Everyone's heard the 80-20 rule. It's 80% diet, it's 20% exercise. That shit is not true, bro. That is not true. That is not true. Guys, any super chats, I'm going to acknowledge all the super chats at the end. So here's the thing, guys. The 80-20 rule is BS. I'm going to give you guys the real formula. The real formula is 90% mental and 10% diet and exercise. And here's the problem with that. If you're anything like I was when I was beginning my journey, I put 90% of the energy into the part that is only 10% of the results. I put so much energy and effort on trying to force myself to eat a certain way, force myself to exercise regularly. Like I was forcing it. I wasn't addressing any of the mental part of it. I was trying to pretty much force my body to change, like I've done many times over and over again. It worked, right? But only for a short period of time, because here's the thing. Your body can change a lot faster than your mind. So if you get this new body, but you still are mentally and spiritually the same person that built the old body, eventually the old body is just going to return, because you tried to force things. You didn't allow your mind to change at the same pace as your body. So again, the formula for true success with weight loss is 90% mental and 10% diet and exercise. Now, if we're talking about mental, then I kind of want to give you guys some information about the physiology of the brain, right? And how that relates to the weight loss process and your success with the weight loss process. And I'm gonna run through this really quick, guys. So your brain is pretty much broken up into two parts, right? There's your prefrontal cortex, right, which is the front part of your brain, and then there's the back part of your brain, which is the primitive part of your brain. They call that the reptilian brain. They call that the caveman brain, right? So the intellectual brain, the front part, the prefrontal cortex, this is the part that is responsible for creativity, for cognition, for rationale. Like that's the part of your brain that separates the human species from the rest of the animal kingdom, right? This is the part that is supposedly make us the superior species. But in my opinion, I think this is the part of the brain that messes everything up. But that's a whole nother subject, right? But then you have the back part of the brain, which is the primitive part of the brain. This is the caveman brain. This is responsible for survival. This is where all your instincts are stored. This is where all your habits are stored. This is where this part of your brain is responsible for seeking pleasure for the purposes of survival, right? We're attracted to high calorie foods. We're attracted to sex because calories is energy, right? And energy keeps you alive. And back in the days, this had a very functional purpose, right? Because we didn't have refrigerators. We didn't have a McDonald's on every corner back in the caveman days. So we were primarily programmed to get as many calories as we possibly can in order to make sure that we stay alive. But now the society we live in, this instinct, right? This biological instinct is actually serving, it is working against us now, right? It's working against us now. And it's responsible for so many issues, right? It's because we're always trying to eat. We're so addicted to these foods. We're addicted to pleasure, right? Whether that's sex or food. And I always say this, man, if a man can control his sexual urges and he can control what he put into his face, he can control his entire life, right? But I digress. The primitive mind is also responsible for avoiding pain. And changing your habits is uncomfortable. And your primitive mind is going to try to talk you out of doing things that makes that it perceives as a threat, right? So you going on a diet, quote unquote, or you trying to change your habits makes you uncomfortable. Your primitive mind is designed to keep you comfortable. So it's going to make up all these excuses to keep you with your current habits, which in turn keeps you with your current body, right? But let me talk to you. I'm going to tell you how this all relates to weight loss. Now, the first few weeks of your fitness journey is normally controlled by the intellectual part of your brain, right? The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain. This is the part of the brain that was developed over the last 100 years or so, right? So what happens is in the first few weeks of your journey, the prefrontal cortex is in control. This is when you're thinking rationally. This is when you're motivated. This is when you are consciously making decisions that are based on a long-term goal, right? Whereas when you're making decisions from the backside of your mind, your reptilian brain is concerned with getting the pleasure now. It wants the cookies now. It wants the burger now, because it is not concerned with the pleasures of the future, right? So that's what you have to understand about these brains, and what you ultimately have to do is take the power from the back part of your brain, right? The part that is concerned with seeking pleasure in the moment, and give the power back to the front part. So essentially, this is a fancy way to say that you need to form new habits. That's it. It all comes down to this, right? After the excitement fades from that initial push of your weight loss journey, most of the time, whether this happens at week 3 or week 6 or week 8, it depends on the person. The primal mind kicks back in, and then we go back to our old habits. This has happened. If this has happened to you, put a yes in the chat right now. I'm going to be looking at the comments. Put a yes in the chat if you can relate to being excited, and then next thing you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, you're back to your old self. Because this is what I'm trying to explain to you. Your primal mind kicks in and takes over, and you have to learn how to short circuit that. All right. Here's a stat for you guys. 97% of people approach weight loss with the goal of losing the most weight in as little time as possible. I know I'm not the only person that can relate to that. That's the generation that I'm from, the microwave generation. We want things right now, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate to that. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Now, ironically, this is the same percentage of people that consistently fail at achieving their weight loss goals, aka your desire for quick results is sabotaging your weight loss every single time. Your desire for quick results is sabotaging your weight loss journey. So if you can find a way to fall out of love with this idea that you're going to get these results fast and it's going to be simple, if you can fall out of love with that idea, the better off you'll be. But I'm going to talk to you about 3 approaches to weight loss, because I know we want the results now, and you can have the results, but you have to be strategic about it, right? And I talk about this, I think in week 3 of my program, I talk about the exact strategies to get that done, but I'm going to break down the 3 approaches, and this is going to help you guys strategize going forward, okay? So here's the thing. There's 3 approaches. There's the marathon approach, there's the sprint approach, and then there's the hybrid approach, right? So I'm going to break down each one really briefly. Excuse me. I'm going to break down each one really briefly. So with the marathon approach, this one, so this one, we focus mainly on approaching weight loss at a pace that can be sustained. Sustainability, guys. You want to approach weight loss at a pace that can be sustained. This one also focuses on a modest calorie deficit. And if you don't know what a calorie deficit is, I'll explain that a little bit later, but it's simply you're eating less calories than you're burning, right? This approach also focuses on developing the proper mindset and developing the right habits that will make weight loss sustainable. All right. This approach, when you're taking the marathon approach, you can also enjoy life during the weight loss process. You don't dread your workouts. You don't dread your food. You invest time into stretching, and you're paying attention to your body. You're trying to get in tune with your body. You love your body through the process, right? You pace yourself. On the other hand, there's the sprint approach, which most of us are guilty of taking this approach because we think this is the approach that's going to get us the fast results, right? This is extremely restrictive. You want to eat chicken breasts and broccoli and brown rice and egg whites. That's it, right? It's extremely restrictive. It focuses exclusively on diet and exercise. You're not worried about stretching. You're not paying attention to your body. You're not doing any, meditating. You're not journaling. You're just like, yo, I'm about to go on this extremely restrictive diet, and I'm going to work out 6 days a week. And that's it. I'm not going to think about my mental health, my spiritual health, nothing. During the sprint approach, it's very unlikely that you are enjoying your life during this process. And that's unsustainable. Weight loss doesn't have to turn your life into hell. It just doesn't. And for a lot of people, the way that they approach it, they make their life a living hell. And that's not the way to do it, guys. During this approach, I know people, they don't stretch. They don't have any balance in their diet. They don't have a social life. They're not hanging out. They're not doing, they have this life that they're just not enjoying anymore. They villainize certain foods. They say, no, I'm not going to eat that. I can't eat rice. I can't eat bread. I can't. Listen, how many people, when you guys go on your weight loss journeys, you approach it with this tempo? Put it in the chat right now. Say yes if this is normally what you've done in the past. This may not be what you do right now, but if you've been guilty of this in the past, and I've been guilty, I'm gonna raise my hand. I've been guilty of this approach in the past. If this is you, put a yes in the chat right now. I'm looking at the chat. I want to see how many people are like me, or how I used to be, I should say. Julie S, Slim D's. Okay, Tanat, I see you didn't. Yes. Dave, Trey, Robert Taylor, yes. Eli says no. Okay. All right. Roger said he still does. Roger, you got to cut it out, bro. All right. So now I want to talk to you guys about the hybrid approach, right? Because with the hybrid approach, you can kind of get the best of both worlds, right? And I'm gonna break this down really fast, but in my program, I provide an exact schedule, and I break down the exact strategy for the hybrid approach. Because with the hybrid approach, you start off with the sprinter mindset, right? You start off with the sprinter intensity, but then you strategically transition to a more sustainable approach before you hit the wall. That's the key. You start as a sprint, but before you hit the wall, you slowly transition. And this is key. You have to time this perfectly. And it goes from person to person how they should do this. But I teach exactly how to do this in the program. This is one of the most effective strategies that I've personally used, and I've used with my clients, because you get all the wins, right? Those early wins, you get the momentum of the early wins without all the downsides of the aggressive tempo, that aggressive pace. You get all the ups without the downsides, but you have to be strategic about it. But okay, guys, now remember when I told you that the formula for weight loss transformation success is 90% mental and then 10% diet and exercise. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about commitment. I'm going to talk to you about commitment, right? Because we all know that in order to achieve anything significant, it requires commitment. But I think what most of us think commitment looks like for weight loss isn't truly what it takes for sustainable weight loss. And I'll explain what I mean by that, right? So most of us, when we think commitment, we think strenuous hard work, hating ourselves during the workout, and we're trying to do exercises that just doesn't agree with our bodies, and we're just not having fun at all, right? That's most of us. When we think commitment to weight loss, we think about this strenuous hard work in the gym. We also think about this like perfect diet. I got to make sure I'm getting all my micronutrients. I'm hitting my calories and my carbs. I got to make sure I have this amount of carbs. I have to make sure I have this amount of protein. And if I have a French fry, then my life is over, right? That's a lot of us think that that's what commitment looks like during the weight loss process. Now, is there sacrifice? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's going to be sacrifices involved when you're losing weight. But you don't have to turn your life into a living hell, right? Let me explain to you what true commitment is, because this is not it. This is not what commitment looks like when your goal is to transform your body long term, This is not what commitment looks like. This is what commitment is. Commitment is kindness. Commitment is kindness. And I know this is going to sound corny. I know a lot of people are like, Briggs, what the hell are you talking about? But one of the one of the one of the biggest characteristics of commitment when it comes to weight loss is kindness, because there's a lot of ups and downs in this journey, guys. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of stumbles. You're going to fall. You're going to scrape your knee. Are you going to yell at yourself when you fall and scrape your knee? That's what most of us do, right? We're so mean to ourselves. We let the negative self-talk talk us out of continuing, right? We let all these doubts and fears and these ignorances that we feel lost, we feel frustrated, and we beat ourselves up about it. And most of the time, this leads to us backsliding, right? So kindness, I should say, kindness is controlling that negative self-talk and understanding the process, understanding that just like the stock market, right? Your weight loss journey, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And when you go in understanding that you're not going to be perfect, and that there's going to be times where you're not focused and you're not motivated. It's not those days that you're not motivated that sets you back. It's how you respond to those days, how you respond to the challenges when it gets tough, right? That pretty much dictates your success. And ironically, how you respond to those challenging moments is what also builds your character. This is what also builds your discipline. This is what also builds your confidence. How you show up to those challenging moments will make or break you. And if you show up to those challenging moments in your journey with kindness and patience with yourself, you are 100% more likely to continue your mission instead of falling off, because you let the negative self talk you. Because you got to understand, listen, a lot of us are essentially trying to break a spell. Hold on, let me take it off of this real quick. I need you guys to look me in the face right now. You are breaking a spell. You are undoing 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however old your age is, of conditioning. Your parents taught you how to eat a certain way, how to think a certain way, right? You are breaking a curse. Don't let me get started about the cultural implications of the way we eat and the way that we don't take care of our bodies, right? This is culturally, this goes back to, if you're Black, to slavery days. And we are trying to break this spell. We're trying to break the curse. Don't you think it's going to take a tremendous effort on your part in order to get that done? It's going to take a tremendous effort. So with that understanding, I need you to be kind to yourself. I need you to be patient with yourself. I need you to pay attention to that voice in your head and how you respond during these challenging moments. Because it's the only way to get through this journey is with kindness. And I spent a lot more time on that than I would have liked to, but I needed you guys to feel me on that. I need you guys to feel me. So a lot of that guilt and the shame that you experience around food and the fear, you have to retrain your mind to process that differently. And I think when you just understand that it's a part of it, right? When you understand that you should expect these challenging moments where you're fighting with yourself in your head about, oh man, I ate a certain thing and now I'm feeling guilty. I'm feeling, shameful that I didn't stick to whatever plan that I had. It's okay. It's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. Forget about what happened today. Let's take a moment to reflect on what went wrong, right? Quote unquote wrong. Let's reflect. Let's extract the jewel, right? Let's extract the wisdom. And then going forward, let's use this information to try our best not to let the mistake happen in the same way again. And over time, right, you start, with the kindness and the intention of learning every single time you stray off the course. Over time, you master yourself. You master your relationship with food. You master how you react to that voice in your head. Because listen, again, this whole weight loss thing is mental. It's 90% mental. If you can get control, not because here's the thing, you're not trying to get control over your thoughts. You can't really control your thoughts, but you can control how you respond to your thoughts, how you react, what decision you make in the heat of that moment when you're experiencing whatever it is that you're experiencing, right? Whatever craving, whatever lower level craving you're experiencing, you can't control the thoughts, but you can control what you do. And you get better and better and better and better every time a challenging moment presents itself. It's an opportunity. You got to look at it like that. You have to look at it as an opportunity. It is, because every time that opportunity presents itself and you show up better and you respond better, you're strengthening your discipline, you're strengthening your will, you're strengthening your confidence. It's super important. But let me get back to the slide, guys. So I'm going to talk to you. Well, let me start sharing the screen again. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about how to free yourself from the guilt and the shame. And obviously, I don't, I won't be able to go into depth, but I do go into depth in my program, the Go Body Blueprint. And I give you guys tools, I give you strategies in order to really free yourself from the guilt and the shame. Because if you think about it, man, the guilt and the shame is what sets a lot of us back. And not just with this weight loss thing, in life in general. There's so much guilt that we struggle with around dealing with family and whatever you insert life challenge. A lot of it, guilt and shame is attached to a lot of the experiences with these things, right? So for me, I use these tools to help me process my emotions, to help me understand myself and pick up on the patterns, the behavior patterns, the thought patterns, the eating patterns, right? That gives me the awareness, right? You can't, like my man Jay says, I say this all the time, you can't heal what you never reveal. You can't fix what you can't see, right? A lot of us, we're trying to lose weight without understanding our relationship with food, right? Do we have an emotional relationship with food? Is it a cultural relationship with food? Is it just like a conditioned, because your parents ate a certain, like why is your relationship with food the way it is? Why is your relationship with exercise the way it is? You got to get to the root of this stuff. And when you understand this stuff, that's when you can address it. That's when you can change it. That's when you can evolve in these certain areas. But unless you develop the awareness, you're never going to be able to change your habits. So meditation, self-awareness, I develop self-awareness through meditation and through journaling. So the items on the left and the right pretty much lead to the thing in the middle, right? Self-awareness is super important. And I give you guys a lot of strategies, a lot of resources in the program to help you develop in these areas, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about emotional eating. This is something that I've managed to tame my emotional eating. Let me say that. I've managed to tame my emotional eating, right? So emotional eating is simply the practice of consuming large quantities of food, usually junk food, in response to emotional hunger instead of physical hunger, right? There's a big difference. And most of the time, when we think we're hungry, we're not really hungry, right? It's not a physical hunger, it's a cerebral hunger. A lot of the times, is if you ever notice, right? If you eat at the same time every day, whether you are truly hungry or not, at that time every day, your body's going to say, hey, where's my food, right? So if you find yourself overeating when you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're depressed, you're most likely an emotional eater. So look, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. And I want you to put in the chat yes or no, because I'm going to help you identify if you have any of the characteristics of an emotional eater. All right. Okay. First question. Do you eat when you're not hungry or when you're full? Put it in the chat right now. Put it in the chat. Do you eat when you're hungry or when you're not? When you eat when you're not hungry or when you're full? Dino said, that's me all day. I feel you. Put it in the chat. Yeah, Zane, I still intermittent fast. She said she always eats. All right, next question. Do you reward yourself with food? I've been guilty of this in the past. When you guys see me looking down, I got to look at my phone to look at your responses in the chat. Do you reward yourself with food? Do you regularly eat until you've stuffed yourself? I know a lot of us are guilty of this stuff. A lot of us are guilty of this stuff. This is emotional eating, and we have to understand ourselves in order to address this and get it under control, because emotional eating is the reason why most people are overweight. Because we live in a very stressful society with jobs that we hate and toxic relationships and toxic family members and all that jazz. And it causes us to overeat and end up in these really compromising health situations, right? So let me move on, right? Because I can spend all day on that sort of stuff. Let's talk a little bit about what I like to call weight management wisdom. Let's talk a little bit about what I call weight management wisdom. Before we go on, right, I think I want to take a few questions. If you guys have super chat, if you have some super chats, and you have some questions, let's go ahead and get those questions popping now. Let me see if I can pull it on YouTube. Put your questions in. I'm gonna take a quick break from the presentation to take some questions. How do I do the back end of this? Anyway, Kimmy, I know you're here, so just send me the questions. I can't really. Let me see. How does this work? Give me 1 second, guys. All right. As a matter of fact, let's just continue because I can't figure this out. Okay, here we go. I got it. I got it. I think. Anyway, let's just continue. I'm going to continue with this. Anyway, so look, guys. Before we move on, Kimmy, put a link in the chat. I've mentioned this program a few times. If you're interested in getting some more information, because I'm about to start a new session on July the 5th. I'm starting a new session. It's a semi-private coaching experience where I teach you in depth all the stuff that I mentioned, plus a whole lot more. I teach it in depth. So there's going to be a link in the chat. Candace, I think we can pin it. Once you put the link in there, we can pin it. So for the people who can't stay long, if you want some information on that, there we go. Click this link. I'm pinning it right now. Boom, it's pinned. Hey, Kyle, you said counting macros is too much. I need a simpler way, right? You need a simpler way. Everybody's always looking for shortcuts, man. Do the work. Just do it. You'll learn so much. But anyway, I'm not gonna go off on. I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. But everybody wants everything to be so simple. It's not. You're trying to break a curse, but you want it to be easy. Zane B, Candace is really the GOAT, bro. 100%. 100%. All right, so I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna continue with the presentation. If you guys want information about this Goal Body Blueprint, I have a few slots available right now. Click that link that is pinned. Get the information. If you have questions, only if you're serious. Here's the thing. It's an investment. It's an investment because I'm not going to waste your time and I don't want you to waste my time. I'm trying to get 100% success rate with this program. That is my goal. 100% success rate. So it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's for the people who are ready to make a commitment, who are ready to make an investment, because my time is valuable. Your time is valuable. So I just want to meet people who are at that particular stage in their journey where they're ready. So if you feel like you're ready and you want the guidance, you want the support, you want the accountability, you want the community, click that link that I got pinned in the chat. Get some more information. If you are serious, you can schedule a call with me. If you are serious. All right, so I'm going to start the screen share. All right. All right, so we were talking about weight management wisdom. Super duper important stuff, right? And weight management wisdom this is a formula that I came up with. A basic understanding of nutrition plus calorie awareness equals weight management wisdom. So before I had a deep understanding of these two areas, I pretty much would run into the same roadblocks every single time on my weight loss journeys, right? I would end up quitting because I would get so frustrated because I didn't understand. I didn't understand how calories worked. I didn't understand nutrition. You have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself on the basics of nutrition and develop calorie awareness, which is pretty much, matter of fact, we'll talk about calorie awareness in a minute, but calorie awareness is pretty much just understanding what your calorie needs are based on whatever your goals are, whether it's maintenance, weight loss, or muscle gain, understanding how many calories you should be eating, and then also knowing how many calories are in the foods that you're actually consuming. And the only way to do that truly and honestly is through tracking your food, tracking using my Fitness Pal or whatever app you decide to use to actually track what you're eating. You can't, like my man Willie says, what gets measured gets managed. You have to know what you're putting into your body. You're gonna find people online who tell you, yo, you could lose weight without counting calories. You can. You can. But if your goal is to really transform your body and to manage your weight forever, I think it's very valuable to develop calorie awareness. But anyway, let's talk about calories a little bit. I'm going to run through this part because this stuff's everywhere, right? Obviously, you know, there's 3 different types of calories, right? There's your carbs, there's your proteins, there's your fats. And calories is just a word that we use for the measurement of energy. And there's different types of energy from these different types of foods. But like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this stuff. This is very elementary. You can Google this stuff. I actually have videos breaking all that stuff down. All right, so I know everyone's probably waiting for this list of foods to eat. Here's the thing. What if I told you that you can actually eat whatever you want and still lose weight? Mind blown, right? You can eat whatever you want because here's the thing. There's a difference between eating for health and eating for fat loss. 2 totally different things. When you're eating for fat loss, the most important thing is the calorie deficit, and that is it. The calorie deficit is the most important thing. So it doesn't really, you could be eating Pop-Tarts. If you're in a calorie deficit, in theory, you're going to lose body fat. You're going to lose weight. You're going to feel like shit, but you will lose weight. Right? Now, when it comes to eating health, you can optimize the weight loss process, right? And understand this. Here's why eating healthy foods are way more effective for weight loss. And it's one concept. And this, when I learned about this concept, it absolutely changed the game for me. And that concept is volume eating. I mentioned earlier in this live that you should never be hungry. If you're trying to lose weight, you should never be hungry. And anyone who has switched from the standard American diet to eating cleaner, you understand that you get to eat a lot of food. You get to eat a lot of food when you're eating quote unquote cleaner foods. So let me ask you guys a question. How many calories do you guys think? Let's put it in the chat first. How many calories do you guys think is in this in this little box of French fries? Put it in the chat. Let me see. Put it in the chat. How many calories do you think is in this? Okay. All right. How many calories do you think is in this plate of food? Put it in the chat. Okay. Okay. All right. Here's what it is. They're both the same. 480 calories. There's a few people who got pretty close. 480 calories. They both are. But there are 2 totally different experiences with food, right? Same amount of calories, you get way more food on the plate, right? It's nutrient dense. It keeps you full. It gives you energy. Whereas with the French fries, you don't get a lot of food. There's no nutritional value. And it actually has you, leaves you wanting more food, right? It puts you in this, it makes me just want to have a milkshake and then a double quarter pounder. Like, it doesn't satisfy me. It almost makes me hungrier. Now, understand this about, like I just mentioned, like calorie is a unit of measurement for energy. So energy right? True to the definition of the word, should give you energy, right? It should make you energized. When you eat McDonald's, do you feel energized? Nah, bro. You don't feel energized. You don't. But when you eat nutrient dense food, it gives you energy. Food should make you feel energized. It should give you life, not take it away from you. Right. So understand that this is why eating healthier foods it optimizes the weight loss process. It makes it because you're never hungry, you're feeling better. So that's why you want to eat healthy foods. But just to be clear, there should be a balance though, right? And that's not to say that you eat 100% clean because that will drive you crazy. But so let's talk a little bit more about calorie awareness. I mentioned it earlier, right? Calorie awareness is simply a deep understanding of your personal caloric needs as well as the caloric content of your foods. That's it. It's understanding how calories work. But you have to be diligent about developing calorie awareness. This is one of the most powerful tools in weight management. Is it annoying to track your food? Yep. Is it, is it fun? Nope. But that's just the game. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? You spend how much energy watching TV or whatever, like chasing girls or chasing dudes or listen, this is stuff that can change your life. Invest the energy and invest the time into doing it because you get the highest return on that investment when compared to playing freaking Fortnite or whatever games y'all playing. I don't know. Just invest the time in the stuff that matters. It's not going to be easy. And if you keep expecting it to be easy, you're in for a rude awakening. So how do you develop calorie awareness? You track your food. Like I mentioned, I personally like MyFitnessPal. It's the one I like. You can also you can also calculate your calorie requirements using, these are my two favorite calorie calculators. Bodybuilding.com, if it fits your macros. You Google bodybuilding.com calorie calculator, it pops up. All right. So ultimately, weight loss comes down to a caloric deficit, right? I mentioned this earlier. And there's two ways to create a caloric deficit. You can reduce the calories you intake, or you can burn calories through exercise. Either one works. I personally prefer to burn calories through exercise in comparison to reducing my calories too low. Like right now, I'm eating about 2230, 2250. And I honestly don't want to go any lower than this. I'll probably go down to like 2150, 22 maybe, but then I'm just going to increase the intensity of my workouts so that I can continue losing body fat. All right. Cardio versus weight training. This is one of the most asked questions I get. Which one should you be focusing on? And in my opinion, you should be focusing on both. Both are very important. But again, it just depends on what you enjoy the most. And it also depends on what your specific goal is, right? If you don't have specific aesthetic goals, then, weight training, you may do less weight training. But anyway, but there's two types of exercises that hands down, in my opinion, burn the most amount of fat. And they are HIIT, high intensity interval training, and then circuit training with weights. These are the two most effective types of exercise when it comes to weight training. I mean, when it comes to these are for fat loss. I'm sorry. When it comes to fat loss, these are the two most effective types of exercise. Now, HIIT, I'm going to run through this real quick. It's pretty much just the combination of brief, high intensity bursts of exercise, followed by an equal or longer period of of rest. So like if you're doing a sprint, you're sprinting all out for 30 seconds. And here's the thing that most people get wrong about HIIT. True high intensity interval training, you're taking for your work interval. So if you're doing sprints for 30 seconds, you're going so fast that if you went 31 seconds, you'll probably fall on your face. Like that's the level of intensity that you're putting in on each of the working intervals. But it's only for maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes, 15 minutes most. So it's real quick. You're taxing your body real fast through these intervals. There's a lot of pros and cons to this. You can get injured. I don't advise people who have a significant amount of weight to lose to be doing HIIT. It's effective, but it's also dangerous. So just keep that in mind. So my personal favorite modality of exercise when it comes to training for fat loss is circuit training. This is by far my favorite type of way to train. It's pretty much the combination of weight training and cardio, right? So you do a series of different exercises. You can do from 3 to 10 different exercises. You go back to back to back with very minimal rest, and you do rounds. It's pretty simple. You can build strength, you can build muscle, you definitely burn fat. But I give in my program, right, the Go Body Blueprint, I teach you guys how to make your own circuit training workouts, which is everything, right? Learning. I remember doing circuit training, a circuit training workout in the airport. Got it in right there. No excuses. Let's get it. And I loved it. People looking at me like I'm crazy because I am. I'm crazy about my health. Anyway, that was a dad joke. But anyway, circuit training is the ish, most effective for fat burning. Like I said, it combines weight training and cardio training. All right, so I gave you guys a lot of information, right? And honestly, in order to really feel confident, because as I started erasing my ignorance around nutrition and around exercise, I started doing research. That's when I started feeling more confident, right? When I learned things, right? And in order to take the pain and the confusion out of the weight loss process for you, there's still so much for you to learn. There's a lot for you to learn. And look, guys, I've been in your shoes. I've been there. I felt that sting of failure. I felt the frustration of being confused. I felt the frustration of not believing in myself. You know, I remember that pain of seeing myself in photos and the pain of not having the energy to play with my kids in the evening. Like, I remember all of this stuff very vividly, guys, very vividly. And I never want to forget it. It's the thing that drives me every single day. And I've been able to pull myself out of this dark place. And I've been able to help a lot of people do it as well, right? And now I want to be a part of your transformation. You guys seen my transformation. So for the people who are ready to commit themselves to the process, who are ready to invest in themselves, I want to have a front row seat and the honor of being the person to guide you through that journey, step by step. And it's, again, this opportunity is not for everyone. And I understand that. But here's what you get in the program, right? For the people who it is for. You get 12, you get one weekly session on Zoom with me, right? It's going to be semi-private. It's going to be a small group of people. You're going to get one every week for 12 weeks. I got 12 sessions. That's not 12. That's not right. We got to change that. It's actually 4 sessions every month. Oh yeah, shit. That is 12. My math was just off like a monk just now. So yeah, you get 12 Zoom calls. You get 40 videos, right? Each one of these sections, like I said, I just gave you guys the surface information as quick as I could in 30 or 40 minutes. But you get videos where I go into depth about all of these topics. I give you a bunch of bonus guides and challenges and cheat sheets and recipes. You get follow along workouts. You get gym workouts. You get daily accountability. You get access to a coach. You get access to the community. You get a whole lot when you join the program, right? And the value of that is over $6,000. Here's the deal, right? Let's cut to the chase. 3 payments of $647 gets you a spot in the course that starts in the program that starts July the 5th. The link is pinned. The comment is pinned right now. Again, this opportunity isn't for everybody. I get it. So if you know you're not at the place to make this sort of commitment, this sort of investment, I understand. We have other things to help you, right? There are other products, but this level of accountability and support and guidance and community, this is invaluable. This is priceless. This is priceless. So if you are in the position in your life where you can make this investment in yourself and you're ready, not just because I don't just want people who have the money. That's one thing. I get it. If you have the money, that's fine. But more importantly, I want the people who are ready to commit themselves to this process, because I want 100% success rate in my programs. I don't want one person to be involved in this program and not reach their goals. I don't want that to happen. So if that's you, click the link. You'll find more information. If you have more questions, you'll see an option there to schedule a call with me. You'll see an option there to schedule a call with me. But again, only if you are ready. You are ready. You are ready. I've had several, this is going to be our 3rd season. I have several people who have had amazing results. Again, guys, click that link if you want more information. And I'm going to now start taking some questions. Let's see. I guess I can take the questions directly from the chat. Let's see. Let me call Cammy, because I can't see the super chat questions. How do I see the super chat questions? Look, this is Cammy. Say hi, Cammy.
Hi. So in the chat, it's just whenever somebody, I mean, I can tell you the questions, but there hasn't been any super chats unless you scroll up.
Mm-hmm.
But just the regular.
All right. So if there's any questions that you see, just let me know. I'll just do it this way.
And it's kind of delayed.
All right. Well, I guess I can't do this. I have to learn how to do it, guys. I apologize.
Sure, but so the super chat, you already answered. What do you do when you're always too tired and in pain to work out? Where to start? Did you see that one?
So he asked, what do you do when you're always too tired and in pain? You walk. You walk. That's it. You walk. Simple as that. Walking, I think, is one of the most underrated exercise modalities there is. I actually did a video on that. But you walk, guys. It's really just that simple. But I think I'm just gonna hop off. The opportunity is there, guys. Click the link if you're ready to take things to the next level. I appreciate everyone for tuning in.